Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And today I was once again very lucky to get an early access screener from my friends over at Terror Films. Now, they actually released a few of them out to me at one time for a very specific reason. Terror Films is celebrating 10 years of terror in the month of October. So, because of that, they're going to have 5 films releasing around that time, and they actually gave me screeners for each and every one of them. So I already did a review for one of these films, and the next one that I'm going to review is the 2025 film Terror Tales Poetry and Death Volume 1. This has multiple directors and writers. Now, Terror Tales Poetry and Death Volume 1 is an anthology horror film, and it's also the one that has the closest relation to terror films themselves. This appears to be the only one of the 5 films that is actually made by Terror Films. This is a collection of 6 stories, and the names for each of them are Bullhead, Friends Forever, Puzzle Box the Glitch, The Reclaimers, Janelle's Baby, and Good Night. With each of these stories, there seems to be a lesson, and those seem to deal with stranger danger, obsession, drug use, survival, mental health, and revenge. Now, before each one of these stories, there seems to be a fun, dark, macabre poem that is read by somewhat of a narrator. As for some of the things that I really enjoyed about this anthology, number one, the atmosphere. It was really well done how each story had almost a different feel or really pulled you in or gave you the idea or concept of what this story was trying to tell. Second, even though this may have been a low budget film, the way that they used the money for this, it didn't feel low budget. Each of the stories felt like they could have been part of a full length feature. The final thing I'll mention about what I enjoyed with this film are the stories themselves. Now, I'll go a little bit more into specifics in just a moment, but I do like the concepts for all of them, and there are 2 that really stuck out to me that I thoroughly enjoyed the stories. I'm not going to mention which of the 2 I really enjoyed the most, as I don't want to put any biased or preconceived ideas towards which ones you should like the most. Now, as for some of the things that I didn't enjoy as much when it came to this film, number one, I liked the poems at the beginning of each story, but they did feel like they dragged on a bit. They probably wouldn't have felt that way if instead of just either focusing or zooming in on a unmoving, unchanging image, if something was happening or altering or changing as that little poem was being said. Second, I did feel like a couple of the stories were a little too short. They got to their point, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of the world or the story or the characters, and some of them just didn't give that to me. Third, there was one particular story that I just felt was very confusing and it didn't really get to a point. And actually, by the end of it, it decided to become even more confusing. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. And the final thing I'll mention is that for one of the stories, I thought it had a great concept, but it was kind of poorly executed. And once again, that's just my own personal opinion. So when it comes to the film Terror Tales Poetry and Death Volume 1, I enjoyed this and I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I really hope this is something that Terror Films starts to do on either an annual or a semi annual basis, because I do like the concept of anthology films when it comes to horror in general. Now, if you'd like to check this one out for yourselves, it is going to be available for streaming and rental as of October 10th. So make sure to mark that onto your calendars. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Skewed Reviews. And once again, a big shout out to my friends over at Terror Films. Thank you so much for allowing me access to all of these screeners, and I can't wait to see what else you guys put out in the future.